It's October 5th, 2018.
And this is Nerd Bourbon episode 70. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I am Todd Sturgill.
Now, Todd, before we get into this episode, before we get into all the bullshit, I want to ask you a question.
What's that, sir?
I'm going to show you something on the camera here, and I'm going to describe what I'm showing you to the audience, and I want your opinion on it. I'm holding up to the camera to show Todd and to the YouTube audience.
It's a pumpkin candy?
It's a candy mellow cream pumpkin. Are you familiar with these little treats?
Not at all.
I'm surprised by that, actually. So they are, it's funny because when I told Anastasia yesterday that I liked them, she's like, they're basically candy corn. Right? And that's where she's wrong, because they're not like candy corn. They are made, the structure of these are basically identical to candy corn. In that
it's candy corn.
And I understand that the last two sentences that I just spoke contradict each other, but there's a crucial distinction, and that is texture. These little guys have a density to them that I cannot describe. And this isn't an episode of Eats, but they're like satisfying to eat. When you eat a candy corn, you just like pop it into your mouth, and it's just like a kind of piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Just a bland, very bland experience.
Bland, kind of mildly sweet kind of situation, and when you get these little treats, these little guys are just like, it's almost like a little cake. Like the density of a candy pumpkin.
See, I've never had them, and you're making me interested in it.
You should try it, because I feel like you would like it. It's, I don't know, like it has a nice bite to it. Like you almost don't want to eat it all in one bite. You want to like savor it, Whereas candy corn, you just eat like a handful of them and you're just left unsatisfied.
Yeah, because they're garbage.
Now, flavor-wise, this does taste like a candy corn. So the flavor's like whatever, but it's the texture that I really like of them. And it's funny, the main reason I bring it up, is because in classic Seth fashion, as I bought a bag of these yesterday when we were out, and I was eating them when I got home last night, and I was reading the Wikipedia article for candy pumpkins, and this is just something that I think we actually may have talked about it last week on the podcast. This is something that I just do. I just
find the entire history of the product out. Yeah.
If I'm like eating something, I'll just like research it as I'm eating it, and I just want to know the history of the thing I'm eating. It's weird. I'm a weird person.
Well, I do something interesting. I do something similar to that, which is like I do that with food as well, but I also do that with just like movies I'm watching. I'll like randomly just like look up the actor or actress that is in the fucking movie, and I'm just like just see everything that they've ever done.
And it's just weird. I don't know why I do that. It's with food specifically. I'll just sit there and I'll just learn. Because sometimes I get interesting stuff like the Tootsie Roll thing that I've talked about on the podcast, and the Kind Bar history that I talked about last week. Well, these little candy pumpkins, these little guys, have maybe an even more interesting history than both of them. So let me just read you something. There's a section on the Candy Pumpkin Wikipedia page.
Is this going to be a thing? Like, is this going to be a new segment?
Yes. I don't know. Well, it's going to be a new segment insofar as this is just something that I do, and I'm just a weird, dumb person, and you're just going to have to deal with it. There's a section for these candy pumpkins on their Wikipedia page, and the section is called Impact. The impact that these things have had. You laugh. These things have directly impacted daylight savings time.
What?
So let me just read this to you. In addition to helping characterize Halloween, candy pumpkins played a role in the current U.S. implementation of a daylight saving time. Since the 1960s, candy makers had wanted to get the trick-or-treat period covered by daylight saving, reasoning that if children had an extra hour of daylight, they would collect more candy. During the 1985 U.S. congressional hearings on daylight saving, the industry went so far as to put candy pumpkins on the seat of every senator, hoping to win a little favor. On July 8th, 1986, President Ronald Reagan signed the Federal Fire Prevention and Control Act of 1986 into law. It contained a daylight saving rider, which continued daylight saving time until the early morning of the last Sunday in October. This did not include Halloween night. In 2005, daylight savings time was extended to the first Sunday in November, just long enough to include Halloween. In other words, candy makers wanted daylight saving time to begin in November because if it was starting, before Halloween, kids were having to go to bed earlier. They weren't selling as much candy.
Yeah,
right.
I get it.
So they put these on the seats of the senators to curry favor with them and to encourage them to extend daylight saving into November, and it worked.
Well, that's an interesting little tidbit.
The course of the way we live our lives as Americans. Now, daylight saving time is stupid.
No. I have a hatred for daylight savings.
It's dumb anyway.
No, working overnight, that shit pisses me off.
Yeah, it does. People are always late because of it.
Well, that's not even why, dude. Like, I'll straight lose an hour of work.
Lose an hour of work. Yeah. There's a bunch of dumb reasons for it. And I don't know. There's been a lot of people who wanted to get rid of it and stuff like that.
I don't think we technically need it anymore.
There's a lot of advantages and disadvantages to it. If you want to really go down the rabbit hole, there's a whole Wikipedia page for that too, Todd. But
next week on Nerd Bourbon.
Yeah. Let me just give you all a lesson on daylight saving time. But no, I just found that interesting. Every now and then, I'll just be eating a little confection, a little candy pumpkin to ring in the new fall, and I'll learn a little something. Todd, isn't that nice? Todd, what have you been playing this week?
Well, let's see. Let's go down the very small list as you pop that in your mouth. Obviously, a little more Monster Hunter. Mm-hmm. Just sitting there, still fucking with some of the Autumn Harvest shit. But I'm honestly kind of done with that. The only thing I really have left to do that I care about right now until, the next Arch-Tempered stuff comes out is basically deciding if I want to sit there and kill myself doing the arena quests for a layered armor set.
And that sounds like garbage.
Oh no, it's absolute garbage. It's I hate the arena quests. They force you to use shit builds, shit weapons. It's great. But other than that, then I jumped into. Well, it's funny is I didn't even realize it came out. It was because of you that I even knew about it. Is the Downfall DLC free expansion for Absolver?
I don't even remember why I brought that up in conversation.
I don't even know why where it came up. But it was all right. Well, I know what I'm doing for the next little bit.
We were just talking, and somehow it came up in conversation. You're just like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, what? I didn't even know. I know exactly what it was. I saw that Absolver had an update. I saw right. Absolver had an update. It should auto update. So I saw that. It was on my notifications.
And I think I was just like, oh yeah, it's probably for the expansion that just came out.
I was like, what? But instantly jumped on that, and it's exactly what I wanted for Absolver, just more replayability for PvE. Because I don't get me wrong, I love the PvP. The PvP is great, but I actually don't mind the PvE aspect. It looks like that stuff. Basically, what Downfall is, from what I can tell, just from the little bit I played, is just it is just kind of you go into it's an actual mode. It's an actual game mode. And
right.
So you go to the bonfires or whatever the fuck they're called. You meditate, and then you sit there and you can go to the combat trials, and Downfall is just a game mode in there. And what it is though is just a randomly generated I did the I don't know if there's other maps for it, but I did the Adalian Mines, which is I guess the starting one, and it's just kind of random. I did it twice. First time I failed that shit hard because I fucked up. Real bad, because it's all randomly generated. You get up until the boss. There's a boss at the end. That shit's rough. That shit's real rough, especially the way I did it.
So that's actually, I didn't realize that the Downfall DLC was structured in that way. I didn't realize it was a whole bunch of randomly generated stuff.
I didn't realize it was that randomly generated until I did it the second time, and it was every room was basically different and it was just like different. Like, I mean, it's basically just kicking, beating the shit out of like NPCs. But it's still like, it's like, oh, ring this bell to start the encounter, like, or defend this statue, which is a very annoying one. I just don't like defending shit. It's annoying. But yeah, the other thing you get with it is like you can build up a damage levels, like you get little damage multipliers, and you could actually sacrifice those there's like these healing blocks, and if you're doing it with a group, it's like one person I think can probably like take the hit on the damage, and basically heal the entire team. I don't know how many people could be in there, like maybe up to 4. That sounds like fair.
Isn't that normally? It's normally a 4-player co-op game, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that might be it. I don't really know because like the people that I play the game with don't have a PS4 anymore. I'm talking to you, Jacob.
Well, he's not going to listen to this.
Ooh, if he does though. But because me and him actually like, because when he fucking downloaded the game, we were playing the shit out of it for a little bit, having fun, just ganking people like assholes, and I was looking forward to doing Downfall with him. And I actually kind of like Downfall just completely went out, like disappeared off my fucking radar. And then, I mean, it's fun. I'm still actually occasionally fucking around with it. I jumped on it actually again today, and I was just like kind of like, because you can level up the whole thing is like you leveling it. There's like gleam levels, and like doing Downfall, even if you fail it, you still like level up a little bit, and that's how you unlock the new powers. There's like new powers, new shit you can like. There's like new shit in the essence shops, which is like something that they added a while back. Which is like there's like these fragments, which is a currency in the game. You can get like armor and all that. What is good about that though, is the old stuff that was like it was actually pretty expensive. They have that shit pretty cheap. And
oh, that's good.
And my fashion is undeniable now because I got the shit that I wanted from a while back.
The stuff that you didn't want to grind out for.
Exactly. I was like, oh, sweet. I can get my fashion going. Let's do it. But yeah, other than that, it's been a fun time playing around with it, but that's basically all I've been doing.
Okay. Well, there's another major thing we'll talk about in a minute.
But that's the both of us.
Right. It's been a co-op experience. There's a little indie game that I've been playing that I've been interested in for a while, but I have never pulled the trigger on it for one reason or another. And it's a game called Thumper. And I recently was just perusing the Switch eShop and noticed that it was on sale for like $7.
Is that the one with you're on like a track?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. It's weird. It's so like I guess it's technically a rhythm game, but like in a weird way, it almost feels more like a horror game. Like,
all right, then.
I don't know how else to describe it. It's basically, so you're like this chrome beetle that is on like a track, and like it's very much like a roller coaster like feel.
That's what it looked like when I was like, I watched like you were telling me about the game, and I was like, I'll watch a video about it, see what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, like it's very fast paced, and yeah, it's almost like you're just like this chrome beetle on a roller coaster, and there's usually like in these very dark, like it's called Thumper because it's like these very brooding like thumping beats.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much it's almost like very industrial, like Nine Inch Nails ass music, and like I don't know, it's just kind of like scary music and scary imagery. And it's very like dark and intense, and I can't decide if I like it or not. Because on one hand, it's kind of fun to play because like the gameplay is pretty like fast and it requires a lot of skill and precision. The controls are really simple. Really, you're really only pressing one button ever, and like you're pressing the button in conjunction with movement, and that's basically the only thing that is required of you, just the timing of the button presses and the timing of your movement. That's really the only thing that's required. It's one of those easy to pick up, difficult to master things.
Okay.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just really like, but the vibe of it is so strange. I've never really played anything quite like it. Where like it's a rhythm game, but it's not really a rhythm game. It's not really using any like licensed music or anything with any real melodies. It's just kind of like almost a means to an end.
Okay.
It's like weird. It's the soundtrack is like, imagine playing a rhythm game with like an ambient horror movie soundtrack, basically. And it's weird. Like it's not good or bad. I don't really know how to describe it. I keep playing it. I keep coming back to it. So, I mean, there's that. I don't know how much more of it I'll play. But for $7, it's certainly interesting. There's nothing else like it, that's for sure. The visuals and the sound and like the yeah, I know you're gonna hate to hear this, but the HD rumble
Goddamn.
is very unique in the game. There's just, I don't know, I can't hate it. There's nothing really quite like it, but I don't really have educated thoughts on it.
I actually remember there is something else that I forgot about. I forgot to bring up is
yeah?
the Sea of Thieves Forsaken Shores.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Well, one, it's like just my experience playing that was just like not the best. I'm sitting there like half dead, like after work.
That's never the
yeah,
way
it's just never a good time. But it's like I got off of work, I messaged my buddy, you know, like my buddy Tyler, letting him know like, oh, I'm gonna be off for the next couple days. He's like, oh, want to play Sea of Thieves? And I'm like, trying to do this right now? It's like, yeah. I'm like, oh,
okay. Yeah, no, you never want to go into anything tired.
But yeah, from what I did experience though, it's actually a pretty fun little expansion / update. You know, they added a completely like new zone to the Sea of Thieves. And the whole deal with it, it's like all volcanic and shit. Like you have like they've added like a bunch of environmental hazards. Like if there's like earthquakes and shit. The earthquakes are more so to like know that the island you're on is about to erupt, so you better get the fuck off. Right. Honestly. And then there's geysers in the fucking there's geysers going on in like all over the islands, which is actually kind of annoying. Because I was actually digging up a chest at one point, and a geyser appeared where the chest was. Killed me.
Oh, that sucks.
Straight killed me. It killed me because I had low health from like something like earlier on. Knocked me up in the air, and it's like, fuck you, boy. I was like, great, cool. And then we were sitting there like trying to get away from one of the islands, and we both died, and we're sitting there like, well, I guess the ship is sinking. Because it's just like, dude, like, these things it's bad. It's shooting, like, volcanic rocks and all. Like, as a sloop, it was bad. Like, even as a small ship, you couldn't really get out. Like, I feel bad for, like, a galleon or, like, a brigantine. Oh, no. Fuck that. And, I mean, there's a lot of just cool little additions. There's, like, they actually added stuff to the regular sea. Like, these mini little outposts. Like, we're sitting there sailing to the new area. And, like, Tyler went, like, AFK, and I see, like, something pop up on my screen. It's like, Northern Shores up. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I know these seas. But it's, like, these, like, mini little outposts and stuff. Like, they added, like, a bunch of just weird shit. Then there's rowboats, which I think is a cool addition. And
is this for single play? Or?
No, the rowboat, you can find them. They're just randomly found on, like, islands. And you could use them. You can like dock them onto your ship. They will get destroyed, but it'd be useful for like you can actually put treasure on there. Like you can actually park further away, and then like you can just use the rowboat for like little incursions and whatnot. But they actually play pretty correctly. Like so basically I don't know how you do it with like mouse and keyboard, like how he plays, but I do it with a controller. It's just like each trigger is an oar.
Right.
So,
okay.
It's like it's realistic. It's like the most realistic way of doing a rowboat type of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. Like they don't have much health. They definitely when we were getting bombarded by like the volcanic rocks, that shit did not last long. Like I think at one point like I came back. I died from the explosion, and so the rowboat's gone. I was like, all right then, because you just park it at the back of the ship. It like docks on. You like pull it up. I don't know how it works for like the other ships, but like for the sloop, it's on the back. And then they all obviously added like the new cosmetics, which they added Kraken gear.
Ooh.
It's cool looking. It is cool looking.
I like some octopus
No,
stuff.
dude, the peg leg looks like fucking like Cthulhu as shit.
Nice.
Like it's like purple, like tentacle shit kind of wrapped around it, like a yellow eye. Looks cool. I was like, I'm probably gonna end up using it. But I mean, it's a cool little expansion, cool little addition to the game. I mean, the game's like everything that the game has done has like stayed in the game in some form. Because now that you know the skeleton ships from the last one,
Yeah.
those are now in the same vein as like skull forts. Like
Okay.
like you'll like in the distance you'll see like a big ass skeleton cloud basically.
Right. Right.
Now there's something similar to that, but now you see like a fucking like cloud of a ship. So that
Okay.
they act like skeleton forts now in a weird way. Like the game does interesting shit. It's just I don't play it that often.
Yeah, I mean, I like the little bit of Sea of Thieves that I played,
Yeah.
but I have no urge to like play
Yeah,
more.
it's just like it's like one of those things like I'll check out the new shit, play it for a little bit, and then we'll see how it goes.
That's the funny thing is like, and I hear you talk, week after week about like you basically play like these games as a service games almost these like constantly updating games
Yeah.
and stuff, and like I respect that, and I know that a lot of gamers like especially in the economy and stuff like that, a lot of gamers want to see their $60 be like stretched as far as possible with like updates, and I respect it and I understand it, but it has to be like some pretty damn good post-launch content for me to like continue to play. You know
Honestly,
what I mean?
the only game that does it well for me is Monster Hunter. Like
Hmm.
like Monster Hunter. Well, the thing with that is like the base game's fun to me. Like the base experience is already fun for me. Like with Sea of Thieves, like the gameplay, I can't play that game by myself. Never can, never will.
There are a few like whenever Shovel Knight, a new Shovel Knight expansion comes out, pump the brakes. I'm gonna play that.
Oh,
You
of
know what I
course.
mean? And those are free updates and stuff like that, or they are if you own Treasure Drive. I've owned it since the beginning, but you know that like I'm always gonna be there for that. But there's really not that many games that like any of these like free constantly updating games
Yeah.
that like have content compelling enough to bring me back. I don't know. That's why I think that's why I like play games at such a like like I just move on to the next thing.
Well, it's
I
shit.
guess more
Right.
easily than most.
Like though these types of games work out for me just like when I'm in the dead zone of waiting for like the new games I give a shit about.
Yeah.
Like I mean, obviously I'm gonna fucking jump on Red Dead the moment that comes out. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick up Battlefield 5, which I need to remember to pre-order now.
Tell you what you need to pick up. Another game that I've been playing.
It's a good segue.
Marble It Up,
Which
Todd.
I do plan on buying.
Marble It Up, Todd.
How much time have you put into it so far? Just like
Just a couple hours.
yeah.
Yeah, just a couple hours. Because, well, here's the annoying thing. It annoyed me that they waited so late. So, like, at the time of this recording, the game just released yesterday. And they waited so long to actually post it and put it live on the eShop.
Oh really?
Yeah, because, like, we left the house yesterday morning to go do, like, some errands, some, like, wedding shopping stuff at, like 10:30, 11 o'clock or something like that. And then and like I'm checking the eShop because I was hoping to download it beforehand or at least set it up to download it so it'd be ready when I got home. And even at that time, it wasn't ready. I was like, shit, it was not on the eShop.
Wow.
So see, I got to play it pretty late, but look, it's everything you think it is. It is
I
the
already know
ultimate.
you're gonna talk about the HD Rumble. It's
The
subtle.
HD Rumble's pretty good.
It's subtle. That's
It
just
is.
fucking
It
subtle.
is. Yeah, it is subtle. It is nice and subtle. Like you'll feel whenever there's a bump, whenever your Marvel like bumps against something, you get a nice little jolt of HD rumble. But for the most part, it's a really subtle vibration. But like just there's just something about these fucking Marvel games. Like just that flow state that you get into, just
Yeah.
that zen like where just like you are the marble in that moment. you know
Yeah,
and
I definitely need to pick that game up.
and you're just finding like these stupid ass like skips. Oh my, the skips that I've already done like early in the game are so dumb. Like
That's the best
it's
part. That's legitimately like one of my favorite parts of the like even like was it Marble Blast Ultra or whatever the hell, just doing the dumb
yeah,
shit.
breaking the game has been so much fun. And again, I it's weird because you can't really articulate your thoughts on it too much because like because it just is what it is.
Yeah,
You know what I
it's a
mean? Like
fucking marble game like obstacle course. Get do some shit.
it's a physics based yeah marble puzzle game I guess,
Yeah.
and it's just it's so fun. Like it's just exactly what I wanted it to be, and like I knew immediately, basically coming into it, I was like, if this game is what I want it to be, it's basically immediately going to be on my top 10 of the year. And then I sat down and played it, and I was like, yep, you know,
Good
just
shit.
yep, it's basically exactly what I want it to be. The thing that did surprise me though is the story, just the deep narrative, that deep marble-based narrative. I mean, really the game is about the human condition, Todd, and it really says something about us as people. And I think if you really look into it, we're all marbles at the end of the day. We've all lost our marbles in this world. You know,
No, I'm not gonna lie to you.
it's
Like, I kind of face palmed through the entire thing. I was just like, I was
it's
like,
got that
when
deep.
you
It
first said
rivals.
like, oh, what really surprised me is the story. I'm just like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
It really it rivals games like The Last of Us and Bioshock Infinite in terms of its narrative.
If it's funny if you were like actually seriously saying that shit.
It immediately overthrew God of War for me with its story. Just immediately. God of War was cool, but you know what? More like God of Bore now.
You know, there's probably that
Just
people
kind
like
of fuck
legitimately
shit.
think that.
Anyway, Marvel It Up is really good, regardless. The other major game that I've been playing is one that I've been enjoying with you in a co-op experience, and we alluded to this in the last episode where I basically sold this game to you before the audience's very ears. Um, it's a game called Strange Brigade.
You didn't say it properly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Strange Brigade.
There you go. That's what I needed to hear.
So we've been playing a lot of that. Let's get what are your thoughts on? I want you to talk about it a little bit. We heard enough of me talking about it.
Here's the thing. Like when you were like telling me about the game, I was like, it sounds like fun. Like it was like a Left 4 Dead meets like Indiana Jones sort of thing. And that is exactly what the fuck it is, and it's great. Like
Yes.
it's it's been a while since I've like had a game that can kind of just shut my brain off and just have fun.
Yeah, it's a very,
And that's
very.
exactly where this game just kind of sits for me. I can just
Hmm.
jump in, do some co-op shit, which we haven't had in a while. Me and you enjoy our co-op experiences, and that's been a dead thing for a little bit. I think the last thing we did co-op was like Monster Hunter when it first came out.
It depends on which co-op. It depends on what kind of co-op experience you're thinking of. Because if you're
Mm.
talking about like Destiny or
See,
Monster Hunter or these,
I don't even count. I wouldn't even count. I'd count Monster Hunter before Destiny.
yeah, I would too. But that's what I'm sort of saying is like when I'm thinking of like co-op experience, I'm thinking of like singular kind of like closed co-op experiences,
Then Left 4 Dead, modded Left
like
4 Dead.
yeah, like this, or yeah, or like Left 4 Dead, or like Dying Light, or something like that. Like these games where it's like just me and you, and like we've been Anastasia's joined us a couple of times, but like for the most part, it's just me and you, and we're just like really locked down in a singular,
Yeah.
tight co-op experience
Oh.
versus something like Monster Hunter or Left 4 Dead, where it's like more large scale,
Yeah.
or sorry, Monster Hunter or Destiny, I meant,
Yeah, I know
where
what
it's
you mean.
more like large scale.
Yeah, I
You
feel
know.
that. Yeah, shit. It's probably been probably the last thing we did was like Dying Light and like Left 4 Dead 2. Then
Yeah, there's probably others that I'm just not thinking of, but yes, it's been a minute.
but yeah, it's been a fun time. Like I think the game does interesting things with like I like the idea of having puzzles throughout the levels, and the levels are like I think you talked about it in the last one. The levels are fucking long.
They're long if you do everything and explore everything. They're pretty short. If you
Oh
just
yeah, we
rush through
speed
them.
run the shit out. We got to the
Yeah.
point where we were speed running the shit out of that first level for like one of the trophies.
I've played that first level so many goddamn times.
Well yeah, it's at least 4 basically, at least 4.
I've I've played it through probably 10 plus times,
Dear
honestly,
Lord.
for various reasons.
Yeah, because I've
But
I've
there's
done it at least
also
like 6 or 7
there's
myself.
there's there's a few things about the game though that does scratch like a particular itch for me. Like I actually really, even though it's pretty simplified, I actually do really enjoy like the upgrade systems in
Yeah, it's a,
place
it's a very simple thing. It's just kind of like adding like gems and shit.
and the arcadey like grindiness
Hmm.
of like, oh, let's play through this level so I can get enough gold to buy this gun or
Yep.
whatever.
And then there's also like I actually don't mind the random weapon box things you can actually spend money on in the levels.
Right. Oh, you should talk about the Horde mode
Oh yes, the horde mode.
that we played around with.
That that is a surprisingly good horde mode.
Yeah,
Like
it's like pretty good.
I was having a lot of fun with it. Like and then there was like even like a puzzle shit like in the horde. I was like, what?
Yeah, the Horde mode even carries in some puzzle elements, and I'm like, oh, that's really the big differentiator from like, because it has the standard things with Horde modes where it's like, oh, you start off like nothing
Yeah, you
and you
start off
eventually
with the
build
like
up,
pistol and that's it, and then you just got to build up to that
opening
point.
doors.
And but this is what the thing I
Yeah,
do like is like as you explore through the level, you're actually finding blueprints for other weapons that you can buy. Like I think
right.
that's cool. There's a lot of the only I'm gonna get my issue with it out. The fucking countdown is bad.
That's annoying. Well, yeah, I do think there needs to be a little bit of a countdown between
Well,
waves, but
they
I
need
do
to
think,
they gotta extend that shit because if you're gonna have
yeah,
the weapon chest basically be like across the damn map because these even the horde levels are pretty fucking big.
there's a fine balance to strike, though. Where like you think about it. If they were to make it like 2 minutes, say,
Oh
rather
no,
than I think it's like 30 seconds
no,
probably
it's
right
only
now, if I'm
25,
not
dude. It's
mistaken.
only 25.
25, whatever. If they set it to like 2 minutes, right? Say between a round you didn't need to use the chest, you're just gonna fucking like
Well,
stick
dude,
your
you can
thumb in
just
your
skip it.
ass. You know? Well, yeah, you could make it so that you could just skip it, but then you run the risk of like, what if a player accidentally skips it? And if you're playing with multiple people, do they need to vote to skip it?
Yeah.
And there's
Well,
all these
there's just
little
a
like
balance. I say like at least pump it up to like
I
fucking
think a
40.
minute. I think a minute would be appropriate. Just a minute because like sometimes especially as you get to like the later ones you gotta like make a fucking
Oh yeah,
journey
because you're
to get
sitting there, you've opened up so much of the level, and then they randomly
yeah
choose one that's across the damn map, and you're like, oh shit, I got like 25 seconds to run over
yeah
here and activate it.
maybe that would all be mitigated if they just made it so that you could use any of the workbenches on the map.
Yeah, that. See, I don't even know if I don't even know if they stay locked or we were just being idiots because we only did it that one time.
Yeah, I don't know, or maybe they could just make it so that like even if they made it so that end of a wave they're just boom a workbench spawns in front of you
That'd be great. That'd be
and
fantastic.
you've got 30 seconds to use it. You know what I mean? Before the next
Well,
wave
it's like
starts and
that's
it
the thing. Like,
disappears.
if you make it to the box and activate it, you're good. But
Right.
the only issue is now you're sitting there using it when there's enemies all around you, and that shit
Right.
gets pretty dumb with the amount of enemies that actually like spawn in that
Yeah.
shit.
They spawn a lot of enemies, like even from the beginning, and
Oh
I
yeah,
do actually like the intensity of that. And it's been actually interesting because like we played up until wave like 14 or 15 or something
yeah.
like
Wave
that.
15 of round one of like was it 5 or some shit?
Yes, I don't even know.
We don't
I
even know
don't
how
even know
I
the
don't even know what like how
structure.
many waves that shit goes up to.
Yeah, I don't even know the structure of it, but like but we played for a solid hour
Yeah,
probably, if not
just
more.
chilling, just doing dumb shit.
And again they start off very intense.
Yeah, it's like what is it? There's an achievement for making it to wave 4 without getting damaged. I got damaged in the first fucking wave.
Yeah, yeah, you pretty much have to. There's a few trophies there where you basically have to like coordinate with your other teammates just to get them. But I don't know. Like, yeah, I just think it's a really solid horde mode, and I think that it's really cool that they've incorporated the puzzle solving, like exploratory element from the campaign into the horde mode. Like, that's a pretty neat little element there. like we did that one puzzle that got you a really good weapon.
Oh, dude, like that weapon is fantastic. I don't even remember what the hell it was called, but it was fantastic. It was like a shotgun.
It's called like the Preacher or something like that.
Yeah, I think you were right
Yeah.
on that. Like, dude, I was just like taking out like full groups, like nothing.
Yeah, and so it's just cool. And like, you get the little interstitial like kind of bosses, and it's giving us kind of a perspective as we're kind of making our way through the surprisingly long campaign. I really think that we're commenting on how long the levels are and how long the campaign seems to be. I really think it's because of the way in which we're playing it. We're
Yeah,
being
because
very
we're
thorough.
sitting there like you have like a guide up for all the collectibles. We're sitting there just taking our
Yes.
time, getting all that.
Being very thorough, taking our time, really only able to play, when you're doing all the collectibles and stuff like that, and when you're 100%ing these levels as you're working your way through them, it's not uncommon for you to spend 30, 45 minutes, an hour
Yeah.
inside of a single level, and there's like 9 levels in the game.
Hmm.
So when you think about it that way, the
It's like
game actually is
at least 9 hours, like at least
decent
around 8
decent
hours.
little yeah,
Yeah.
decent little length, so which is fine by me, especially the game isn't full price, and yeah, it is kind of low budge, like it doesn't look the best, but it looks fine. There's definitely some jank. We encountered a funny bug today when we were playing earlier today.
As you said, I wish we were recording. Like that was good.
Yeah, because it basically played a cutscene, and then a few seconds later it played the same cutscene, except the character model involved was not there.
But it still had like
So
the sound effects. It was great.
it still had all the like audio cues of the cutscene. It was supposed to be like a scary cutscene, but with no character model there. It was pretty good. And then there's been a few instances where it's like, oh, we have to like basically outplay the jank of this game to like re-jank the puzzle to work.
Yep.
Which sounds a lot like more serious than it is. It's been few and far between, and but for the game being what it is, I'm having a really good time with it, and I'm really happy with this game. It's been a really fun experience. And I like the vibe of it. I actually have gotten like I actually think the characters are pretty like they have pretty decent backstories and stuff.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of like actual backstory to each of the characters if you read their biographies, and I'm assuming even if you get into like the letters that you find in the chests and
Right.
whatnot, in the
There's
journals and
more
all that.
writing. Yeah, there is more writing for sure than is normally in a game like this.
Yeah.
Even in like when you're talking about a game like Left 4 Dead, you don't really come
Yeah,
to learn that much
yeah,
about.
you don't know much about the characters. You get a little bit of like backstory if they like through like little dialogue bit like tidbits, but that's about it.
Yeah, for those games, they're just kind of like read our comics or
Yeah, it's
whatever.
like
Read our
I'm not gonna do
books or
that.
whatever.
But they did it. They put a surprising amount of like work into actually like having, I guess, well like built characters for the most part.
It's not like the writing, like the writing and the flavor text and stuff is not in your face whatsoever.
Hmm.
You have to dig for it, but
Yeah,
if you want
it's
to
there if
dig
you
for
want
it,
it, and which honestly, it's
yeah,
that's something I respect. I enjoy that in a lot of games. Like shit, Dark Souls does that. It's like shit's not in your fucking face. You can play that game and just be just bosses.
right. And I like that a lot about Strange Brigade. I think the game does a lot of like smart things, and and I've talked about this before. The concept of like, what's wrong with a good 6 or 7 out of 10 game every now and then? Like, what's wrong with that?
It's just this is honestly it's just been a fun experience of like a good little like I don't know, good little palate cleanser before like a big meaty game comes out type of shit.
Yeah, I don't need every game I play to be like a masterpiece, triple A.
Some real shit.
Like I don't need every game I play to just be this fucking like full course 80-hour like adventure. Like every now and then I just want to like solve puzzles and shoot mummies in the face.
Exactly.
You know. So anyway, Strange Brigade's good. Go try it out. Give it a shot. It's not full price. It's $50. There's a couple of pieces of free DLC that you can download. There's a reasonably priced season pass for all the content that they're going to be providing, and it's I think it's worth it, especially if you have some friends to jump in with you. Give it a shot. It's pretty fun. I think that's about it for what we've been playing this week. So with that, I think we should jump into our topic. Do you even remember what our topic
I don't
is?
even know what the fucking topic is. Honestly, I've been winging this entire episode.
You've just been like, fuck. I hope he doesn't come to a topic. I don't remember what it is. No. So our topic. So this is something that I've gotten really into, and I think it's because more than any year prior, I've been patiently waiting for summer to turn into fall this year.
Oh yeah, that's the topic.
Because like the sun is vile, Todd, and I hate it so much.
Well, it's shit.
And the humidity, the Louisiana heat and humidity is just it's the worst. And so I'm just waiting for the air to get crisp and the cold to come. I'm ready for yeah, I'm ready for hot chocolate and I'm ready for, pumpkin spiced everything. That's something
Do
that
you
I
like
think we
that
need to
shit?
discuss.
You like that pumpkin spice bullshit?
You already know.
I hate
You
you.
already know.
I
I'm a
hate you.
big pumpkin spice lover. That's something we're going to have to get into. But our topic this week is fall or autumn, the season of fall or autumn or whatever you want to call it.
It's my favorite season of the year.
Mine too. I was actually surprised to hear you say that.
Well, it's mainly because it's the right temp. It's the temperature that usually in autumn. It's the temperature that I love, and it's
Right.
just because here's the thing. I'm a I'm a big fan of wearing shorts all year
Oh
round.
yeah.
All year round, even through the winter. Like the only time I think about wearing pants is it has to hit the single digits, and I'll think about it.
Dude, last year I was out in single digits still in
Oh, dude,
shorts.
here's the thing. It involves snow. If there's snow on the ground and it's like deep, I wear pants. I don't want
Yeah,
that shit
you
to hit
don't
my
want
skin.
snow.
Exactly.
You don't want snow to be touching the skin.
Exactly. That's that's the main thing. It's like if it's single digits and I see snow like that, I'm like, I'll put some pants on. But autumn and fall, it has that perfect temperature to me where it's cold. It's like, but it's not like fucking hitting like the single digits, the 20s and shit like that. It's perfect. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
it's
perfect.
like you're talking about like the 50s and 60s. There's
Exactly.
nice chill winds. It's usually kind of rainy. I really love the rain.
I always say this to people my look when I'm like when I go to work and shit does not change that much throughout the year. Like talking about autumn and like winter and all that, it's kind of funny to me. Is I wear cargo shorts, a fucking t-shirt, a flannel, and you know what changes from autumn to winter?
A hoodie.
No, it's like a puffer vest. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm that fucking white guy. People like look at me like, you fucking crazy? It's cold.
Well, at least when autumn rolls around, like finally you look appropriate.
Exactly, right? Well, I don't. Yeah, it's like the moment like autumn is gone, it's like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I bought some new flannels recently, and because I'll wear flannels every now and then. I had like a black and red, the classic black and red check flannel for a while, and I was wearing it quite frequently. And Anastasia basically hijacked it.
Really?
It's now her shirt, basically.
Great.
So I wound up buying a few others recently, and I've been kind of getting back into the swing of wearing
Well,
a
yeah,
good flannel. It's an underrated like fall thing. I mean, I guess it's a year-round thing, but
it's a
flannel,
year-round thing for me. I got a flannel for every day of the week.
yeah, no, it is definitely a year-round thing, but also it is kind of emblematic of the autumn, though.
Oh, it is. I would agree with that.
Like you do think of the flannel, when you think of like these months that we're now getting into, and so it just feels kind of nice. Like yesterday, I was when we were out, I was wearing my flannel, and it just felt appropriate. I don't know. There's just something nice about it. Like,
Well, one
I
thing
don't
I
know,
like is with flannel. Just talking about flannels right now. This is the flannel topic. Fuck fall, but the difference types of like I have like 3 or 4 different types of flannels. I got like the thin
Yes.
ones. I have the ones that are like heavier, but they're not as soft. They're not like soft ones. They're like more like heavy duty, like almost canvasy.
it's the 3 different layers.
Yeah.
It's the thin ones that you can wear as like a jacket over a shirt, basically. Like there are the thick ones that you wear as your shirt,
Yeah.
and then there's the ones that are basically a literal like jacket.
Yeah, I have one that's such a big puffy one. It's like a big puffy, like it's basically a fucking jacket.
Yeah. Like actually just a straight up jacket. So yeah,
That's the one I don't
flannels.
wear that often actually, because it's just like it's basically a jacket.
Flannels are good. Like and again, it just like it to me like it just feels very appropriate for the fall, and I like wearing it, and I like the weather being appropriate to kind of wear cozier things, I
Yeah.
guess. And you know, it is funny because like seasons, you know, obviously the weather and stuff like that is very like appropriate for the seasons, but I am fascinated with just like the, you know, I'm very into holidays.
Hmm.
You know this about me. I like holidays a lot. And like I really like, you know, I like Halloween. I like Thanksgiving. Those both take place in the fall.
Yep.
You know. So I don't know, there's just something about like the you know, the colors of the fall, the
Oh,
oranges and
like
the yellows.
I love the just like the just being out and like being outside, just the changes and the leaves and all that shit. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love the change of the colors, and I love I don't know, like I said, I like all the trappings of fall, and I find that my mood is just improved in fall. Like I'm just happier towards the like bottom half of the year.
Let me tell you why that is. It's because it's not hot.
That I mean, yeah, that like I said, that definitely is a component of it. But I think I just again, I just really like holidays, and I really like spending time with people that you know, that I love, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
And holidays bring the family together and all that shit.
holidays bring the family together. It brings like I just feel a little bit closer with like the people in my life around
Yeah.
the holidays. And I don't know, just like I guess being in that time zone really makes me happy. And the fall really makes me happy specifically. And I listen to specifically, I actually have a playlist on my phone titled Cozy Fall. And
What sort of music
I
you got in there?
you know what, let me pull it up for you. And I'll just read off a few tracks on here. A big one for me, and I've actually gotten really into him here lately. I've gotten back into him. I was listening to a podcast, uh, and they mentioned the artist. You familiar with the artist Iron and Wine?
No, I'm not actually. What's
Iron and Wine is his real name is Sam Beam,
okay?
but he is a acoustic sort of, I guess, folk artist is, I guess, the genre I would put him in.
I would probably more than likely enjoy it.
Fucking incredible, fucking incredible. As a matter of fact, the our first dance song is going to be his cover of "Such Great Heights" by the Postal Service.
Okay.
So that like that's happening. And I don't know. I've just gotten really into like he just has this sort of like this sort of like sadness to his song. A lot of his songs are about like death and relationships and stuff like
Hmm.
that, but he's not whiny about it. Like he's covering sad topics, but he isn't crying. It's not the type of music that you like cry to. It's sort of like it's less sad and more just like indulgent melancholy.
Just like a somber melancholy. Yeah, it's
Just yeah, just contemplative, you know,
okay.
like it's the sort of sad music that makes you think,
Okay.
you know. And I
What
can
was
recommend some
what's
songs.
the what does he perform as? Like, was it Iron? Would you say it was
Iron and Wine.
Iron and Wine? I'm definitely gonna have to check that out after we record this.
Also, I can send you some recommendations for sure of some of my favorite songs of his. He has a song. My favorite song of his is called "The Trapeze Swinger,"
Okay.
and let me just tell you, this song is almost 10 minutes long, and does not feel like it's 10 minutes long at all when you're listening to it, and does not have a chorus of any kind. It's basically and the reason that I think he did it that way, the reason I think the song is structured that way is because that song is all about the arrangement itself, and it's all about the lyrics. And it is some of the most beautifully written lyrics that I've ever heard. Like it's maybe my favorite like written song of all time.
Oh, really?
Just the
That's a big
lyrics
statement.
the lyrics are just incredible, and they make you think, and it's just I can't say enough good things about him. I like to listen to a lot of Smashing Pumpkins for obvious reasons. My favorite band of all time, which I may or may not have said this on the podcast or not. We actually later this month are going to be doing a music based topic, so I don't want to give too much of this stuff away. But my favorite band is the Postal Service. and they only ever released one album, but their album Give Up is like the perfect fall soundtrack, basically. Death Cab for Cutie, another Ben Gibbard band, is like a perfect fall band. Um, I'm a big fan of jazz. I think jazz really goes with fall quite well. Julianne Baker is another fantastic. So there, I could go on and on of these bands that are in my playlist, but I really like to listen to this sort of like low key contemplative, like I mean maybe it's kind of a hipstery thing to say, but just kind of these like slow, kind of cozy songs. I don't know.
It's a little hipstery.
It's a little hipster, but I don't know. Like there was just something about like yesterday, for example, just driving around, sipping on a coffee, listening to like, letting the fall air hit me, listening to some Iron and Wine, and just like it just felt good. Like it all feels very like, I don't know, it's checking all the right boxes for me. That's the sort of stuff that I like to listen to in fall. So, do you have anything like that where like you listen to different music depending on your mood or depending on the season?
I mean, well, definitely depending on my mood. That's just like I
That's obvious, but
yeah.
what I mean is like a seasonal kind of mood.
Maybe like subconsciously I do. It's just like it's something I just like don't think about.
Right.
But I mean like I that is a good question. I might find myself doing something similar, like listening to like the slower parts of my fucking playlist.
Right. I actually another like a song for example, just a touchstone that you can relate to. On my fall playlist is actually one of the Rise Against Ghost Note Symphony song, the Savior cover, or not cover, it's their own song.
It's the reimagining of it, basically.
Yeah, their version of Savior on there is actually on that playlist.
It's a really good version of that song. Like,
it's my favorite one that they did on that album.
I mean, like, yeah. I like a couple of them. There's a couple that are a little weak, but yeah, the Savior is definitely the best off that.
Yeah. Again, we're gonna do a really in-depth music topic as one of our evergreen episodes coming up. But music is a big part of the fall for me. Like, I really like as we get closer to Halloween. I really like just watching like, horror movies, and
I want to watch a scary movie.
Definitely. There's I don't know, and like you loop around after Halloween and you start talking about Thanksgiving, and I think I'm especially like excited. I'm very energized by this fall because obviously I'm getting married this year in the fall. That's always going to be that's always going to be yet another thing that I love about the fall now, is it's going to remind me of my wedding, So, I don't know. It's fall is just really, really good.
Did I tell you something I'm planning on doing?
I don't know. Tell me.
I'm thinking about doing an Alien Isolation playthrough for October.
Yes, you did mention that.
Yeah, I think I am going to do it.
We need to, it's funny because like normally I would have like this whole slate of like horror games that I would like to play leading up to Halloween, but this year I'm just going to be so busy with
it's like it's not feasible to do the Hallow stream shit that we did last year.
But I mean, you could.
I'm gonna probably do a little bit of it. Like I'm probably gonna bring. I know I'm probably gonna get Tyler in on that.
Yeah.
Because I know he's gonna like just love watching me like shit myself. Because it's just like I Alien Isolation is gonna get me, and I know it fucking will. That's the main reason I didn't play it.
Yeah, that game definitely. That game has some really good jump scares. I'll say that.
Like a part of me, in a weird way, I kind of want to do face cam for it.
That'd be interesting.
Like,
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
It'd probably be the first, because like, there's a couple times even in like the Dark Souls playthrough, I was like, God, it'd be really good if people saw my fucking face when this shit happens.
At that point, if you do face cam for that, I'll watch it.
Just watch me shit myself. They kind of like watch me just shit myself on screen. It's gonna be great. But
So I want to talk for a second about the thing that we mentioned at the top of this conversation: pumpkin spice.
Oh,
a big component of the fall, and I know how you feel about it. I fucking love pumpkin spice.
It's like here's the thing. There's a couple things that I feel like people go too crazy with. Pumpkin spice is one of them.
It is. It's
Bro,
like pumpkin
I've seen
spice
pumpkin
and
spice pasta sauce.
yeah, pumpkin spice and Nutella and
I'm just like,
sriracha and
stop. Pumpkin. There's like pumpkin spice like Cheerios and shit. I'm like,
those are fucking amazing. Those are so good. Pumpkin spice Cheerios are like objectively the best Cheerios. Here's the deal. Like the difference for me between like those things that you just mentioned is like I feel like a lot of people hate pumpkin. I'm not saying you do, but I feel like a lot of people hate pumpkin spice just because it's popular.
well,
And like
I'll say this. At least with pumpkin spice, it's a seasonal thing. People go crazy for it for like the fall, and then it's over.
it's not just a seasonal thing. Well, it doesn't have to be just a seasonal thing, but the reason why you say that is because pumpkin spice is not a product. Like Nutella and
Yeah.
sriracha. These are things made of other things that people have already made.
Yeah.
Pumpkin spice is just a spice,
I know.
or really a combination of spices. You know, cinnamon and nutmeg and allspice and cloves and stuff like that. Like, that's what pumpkin spice is. And a
Yeah.
lot of people get hung up. I was actually just talking to Anastasia about this yesterday because we went to Starbucks on our way home and I got a PSL, my first PSL of the year. The pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks.
I don't like how you're doing the fucking.
Well, that's how you order it. You just, well,
Can
you
I
don't
get
have to.
can I get a PSL?
Yep.
Like a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly. But like the PSL, it's funny because a few years ago, I don't know if you remember this, they made a big stink about now the PSL has like real pumpkin puree or whatever in it.
Why are they bitching about that?
Because people, I guess, drink it and they're like, oh, I just don't taste the pumpkin. There's just no pumpkin in here. I'm like, it's not called the fucking pumpkin latte. It's called the pumpkin spice latte. Right? It's not supposed to taste like pumpkin. It's supposed to taste like pumpkin spice. Like, it's supposed to taste like that spice. It's not supposed to taste like the pumpkin itself. So, I digress. But I really just love that combination of spices. Just makes me happy. Like I really love pumpkin pie, and like yeah, I agree with you. It's gone too far. Like it's gotten too.
No, when I was like, this was like a couple years back. I was like in Aldi. I was like at a fucking Aldi, and I was like, I walked in, I saw like it's like where they have all like the weird shit, like the display shit basically at Aldi. I don't know if you remember being in an Aldi. It's been a long time since.
I haven't been in an Aldi in a long time. You know what's funny? There actually is an Aldi in Texas.
Really?
Of all places.
I love Aldi. Aldi's fantastic.
It was so funny. We were driving through, I think it's in Humble, Texas, or in Atascocita or something like that. We were driving through, and I just fucking see an Aldi. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, in Texas?
Dude, did you know, this is like just a random tangent, but Aldi is technically like the original thing. It was like two companies that branched off.
Yes.
And then like the other, not the Aldi that we have, it's the other Aldi actually owns Trader Joe's.
Or I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like some shit like that. I don't remember exactly.
Wow. Yeah, this is a big tangent that we could go on right here.
It is. Dude, I just love Aldi. Aldi's like legit like one of my favorite stores because it's like it's cheap.
Dude, it's a worldwide. It's a thing.
Yeah, and it's just like it's like Aldi North basically and like Aldi South basically. That's the whole thing. That's not the actual like names of it, but it's like.
No, I think you're referring to Aldi Nord and Aldi Sud.
There you go. That's why I said it's like Aldi North and Aldi South basically. I think Aldi. The other one is like the Aldi North basically, whatever the fuck is the one that we have as Aldi, I think. And then the other one, I think they bought Trader Joe's like years ago.
They've got 11,234 worldwide stores.
Dude, Aldi's bigger than you think.
Fuck. I had no fucking idea. So anyway, you were in Aldi and you saw some pumpkin spice shit.
Yeah, I'm walking. I was like walking towards walking to the fucking register and shit. Then I look to the side, I look to the right, and I see this. This is when I knew it went too far. Is pumpkin spice pasta sauce. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Some of that stuff is just dumb, and like some of it, they do just because they know it'll sell.
And it would definitely will sell because people are like, ooh, I'll try that.
I think a lot of that is just for people just doing shit just to do shit, you know.
Well, that's how I felt like when I saw sriracha salsa. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, like you see the sriracha beer and stuff. It's a little some of that stuff's just for shock value, I think. Just to just to be that stupid. You're just doing it because why not? You
Yeah.
know? Like there's like pumpkin spice vodka. I'm like, who wants to drink that?
Here's the thing.
You
I
know?
don't. People gotta understand something. Vodka should not have any fucking flavor. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Vodka should just be vodka, and
I agree
it's
with
still
that.
shit.
I agree with that. I'm not really a clear alcohol drinker.
Oh,
But
that's just the same. Like I don't really like vodka. It's just like it shouldn't have flavors though.
yeah, but so pumpkin spice really has gone too far, but it does that combination of spice does remind me of the fall. So I do like to have, I don't care if it makes me a basic bitch or whatever,
It's just,
but
well, as long as you realize that, that's fine.
I realize that it's a popular thing that that I indulge in, but it really I just like the taste of it. I just enjoy it. So like when I went to Starbucks yesterday, I had my PSL. It just makes me happy. Like those flavors taste like the fall, just in the same way that peppermint and like hot cocoa and stuff tastes like the winter to me, like Christmas to me.
Yeah,
Like
that's a fair that's a fair comparison.
yeah, like pumpkin spice reminds me of the fall. So I drink it
It's,
and
it's
I'm listening to my Iron and Wine.
the
And
thing for me is like I'm just not a pumpkin guy. I don't like pumpkin pie. I don't like any of that shit.
I love pumpkin pie. Pumpkin itself is just okay. I actually made a few years ago. I actually, believe it or not, made a pumpkin soup.
Really?
That
How's
was
that?
quite. So it's actually based on, and this is the reason I did it. I used to watch a YouTube channel. I don't know if they're still going on or not. I don't think they are, but I used to watch a YouTube channel called Feast of Fiction with Jimmy Wong, where they basically made like video game and like TV and movie based like recipes.
Okay.
And they had a pumpkin soup recipe based on Twilight Princess. There's a couple of Yetis in Twilight Princess that make pumpkin soup.
Okay.
And pumpkin soup actually has appeared in several Zelda games. It was in Skyward Sword as well. And pumpkins in general, you can make it in Breath of the Wild. Pumpkins in general are kind of synonymous with Zelda in a weird way. And maybe that's another reason why I like it. Maybe it reminds me of Zelda inherently. And Zelda is like 90% of my genetic makeup. um, but yeah, I made that pumpkin soup recipe that they have, and it was like just delicious. It's pretty good. Another thing that I really like to do, carving jack-o'-lanterns and reserving the seeds from the pumpkin and roasting them. I love a good roasted pumpkin seed. You ever have that?
No.
Oh man.
This thing, man, I kind of like stray away from it. Like I'd be open to try it.
Maybe, oh Todd, it'd be kind of fun to carve some pumpkins. I mean, it'd be a little early.
It would
And
be
we're already
early, but
kinda
it'd be
doing-
something to do.
We're already kind of doing a lot of shit.
We are
If we
already
can-
like we're trying to do too much shit.
Yeah, we're trying to cram as much stuff in as we can when you're down here. If we have time to cram in some pumpkin carving,
Bro,
I think we
I'm
should do
definitely
that.
down. Come on.
that would be fun. Anyway, the fall's great and it makes me happy and I really really like it. Was there anything you wanted to say about the fall before we wrap it up?
The fall sucks. No, I'm just.
Fuck the fall. Fuck pumpkin spice. Fuck the fall. Fuck pumpkin spice. Bye. No, but I mean, did you have any closing thoughts? Anything you wanted to add about the fall? Todd.
I was gonna say how long I was. But no, honestly, it's just you basically covered it exactly how, like for the most part, how I feel about the fall. But it's just
Minus the feelings about
minus
spice
the
and-
feelings of pumpkin spice. Like I'm just the exact opposite. Pumpkin spice can go fuck itself. And that's my closing
fair.
thought right there.
That's fair. Well, anyways, thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.